Lifestyle creep, lifestyle inflation, inflation on its own, the hedonic treadmill, keeping up with the Joneses next door. How do we fight these things? This bloated lifestyle, the root of many people's financial problems? Today I have a realistic answer. We focus on doing the exact opposite. We actively seek out lifestyle deflation instead. The funny thing about lifestyle inflation is that it typically happens on its own, no effort required, and you hardly notice it. It's really easy to accomplish actually, but obviously not the good kind of accomplishment. I'm here to make the argument for the next financial independence trend, a focus on lifestyle deflation. Lifestyle deflation does require time, effort, and attention. It takes courage to live differently than your peers, to zig when others zag, to develop a mental approach of wanting and needing less and enjoying life more because of it. But if you take it seriously, even if only for a few months, and create your new normal, it can be life-changing for your happiness, your mental health, and also, of course, your wealth. The best part of lifestyle deflation is that you can literally start today. And in just a few moments, I'm going to share a ton of very actionable, concrete, realistic tips that apply to most people. Lifestyle deflation is the art of removing spending from your life intentionally. In the simplest terms, it's the art of frugality, spending less over time. It isn't science or math. It's learning to live with less, and in doing so, learning to find more joy in life. But okay, yes, the math side does work out in your favor, to be sure. In actively focusing on spending less, you're absolutely able to maximize the amount you can save and invest each month as a side effect or bonus. Lifestyle deflation has many other benefits though. It simplifies your life, it leads to less stuff and less clutter, it's less day-to-day spending and bills to keep track of. My favorite is that it actually leads to less decision-making daily because it often limits the burden of choice. Plus, it can also be helpful for the environment via less consumption. But how do you get started with lifestyle deflation? Well, as obvious as it seems, it starts with knowing what you're spending. Even if you don't want to keep a meticulous budget, and I sure don't, it's mindfulness about what spending categories are your highest and where you can clearly pull back. It's awareness, it's noticing price increases or new spending, new common purchases compared to a year or 5 years ago. For example, lately I've noticed we're buying the same amount of things at the grocery store, but it costs a little bit more each visit. Most people don't notice that, but with lifestyle deflation, you will. By tracking and being mindful, you'll almost certainly notice that lifestyle inflation, lifestyle creep, inflation in general, these things are real and affect almost all of us. One mental strategy I recommend when you're just getting started is when you're shopping, whether online or in person, don't ask yourself, how will my life be better with X thing? Instead, reframe this question and ask yourself, so far, has my life been bad without X thing? In almost all cases, I think you'll find that it hasn't and that spending is unnecessary. So, I've covered what lifestyle deflation is, why it's important, the benefits both mentally and financially, and how to get started. But let's get to the meat of today's video, the quick, easy, actionable, realistic tips that you can get started on today. The tips will get more unique and more creative and interesting as we go along. I did take time to organize these 22 tips onto a single sheet as sort of a checklist. Download with the link on screen or pinned in the comments. See how many you can knock out in the next 30 days or 6 months or the year ahead. Get rid of things you don't need. Identify the things you can live without. Sell them, then keep and save the money that you earn. Make sure that you only keep things that serve a real purpose. I actually try to sell one thing a week, and I don't always succeed, but I try anyway to build the habit. Right now, I actually have this fun game posted over on Craigslist. You can also give things away, of course. We do a clean out quarterly. Unsubscribe from promotional emails. I promise they get you far more often than you probably realize. The same can be said, by the way, for staying off of social media because of their incredibly accurate, borderline scary because they're definitely listening to you ads that you can't resist. Here's an easy and very obvious one, but we don't do it enough, which is to bike or walk instead of driving as often as you can, especially if you need to go less than a mile. Move social gatherings from bars and happy hours to your house. And plan ahead to make it interesting. You know, a board game night or a potluck, movie night, an epic game of tag or hide and go seek. I don't know, not judging. You do you. And here's an environment nod. Avoid purchasing disposable anything. Paper towels, pens, disposable batteries, disposable tissue paper, diapers. Buy reusable, even if it costs a few extra bucks up front. Use a hand towel instead of paper towels. Shop rechargeable batteries. And I'm not a dad, so I don't know how you replace disposable diapers, but I picture it looks like this. Reuse or lose all of your dough. Fix things when they break, or at least try. You can learn anything via YouTube University. Am I right? Never leave the house without water and a snack, because you should never pay for something that's free, especially water. I mean, it literally falls from the sky, and snacks on hand are very important. I learned just how important when we were looking for a house and touring homes for hours straight. Keep a reusable bag in your car. We almost never leave the house without this blue tote, and it comes in handy way more often than you'd imagine. It saves us a lot of money, time, and effort. Plus, it can definitely hold your snacks and water, I guess. Live off the food in your fridge for as long as you can. I like to think of this as a game when we're getting low on food, like a challenge. I promise you have a great meal waiting to be figured out tonight. Speaking of food, attempt to grow your own greens if you don't already. This one speaks for itself, but beyond making your greens and some veggies almost free, I think it's super fun to watch a garden grow and learn how to grow more veggies and grow them better. Buy everything secondhand for a full month or get things for free. Thrift stores, of course, work, but get more creative than that. Think Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist, eBay, garage sales, buy nothing groups on Facebook. We score free things all the time on Nextdoor, and we pay it forward by giving things away as well. Some things can actually be better secondhand, or at least the same. Things like collectibles, vinyl records, jewelry, books, and video games. Consolidate monthly subscriptions with friends. Now, the obvious one, of course, is joining a friends and family cell phone plan, but I also like that joke that we're all something like 6 degrees of separation from the one person who actually pays for HBO Max. Do business with friends. Exchange goods or services. Recruit friends instead of hiring movers. Ask if they have friends and family discounts where they work, and make sure you offer the same. Speaking of friends, try merging productive time with social time. People love an activity that provides a social framework, so to speak. So think things like making meals, berry picking maybe, scrapbooking, organizing a basket for a charity auction. I don't know. Help a friend with a house project. Social activities are great, but productive social activities are better. Buy high quality items and use them forever. Certain needs are worth investing in and will definitely save you money in the long run if you do it right. Furniture or appliances, most electronics, perhaps a coffee machine, clothes, especially jeans, shoes, and even produce that won't go bad in just a couple of days. I don't have my wallet on me, but I've been using this leather wallet for about 15 years, and I once actually invested in this leather dog leash about 10 years ago. This and the dog's collar, still using, still in great shape. So perhaps I just need more leather in my life. I don't know. Anyway, buy quality items, replace them less often, save money over time. Leverage a skill or develop one and put it towards a free or very cheap new hobby. We all have something we're good at, so lean into it. Go back to doing something that you used to love. Nurture that skill. Maybe it's rock climbing, knitting, woodworking, crafting. I don't know, but reflect on this one and give it a real shot. Learn how to treat discovery as a form of consumption. Get lost walking around your neighborhood. Take a road trip to drive and just look around. Go to a museum on a free day. Hike a new trail or visit a new park. Create something new and interesting out of nothing. Do you remember making macaroni art or maybe robots out of cardboard as a kid? I actually, a couple years back, got really into drawing pictures without looking, just sort of blindly. I apparently painted that one. And my new in-laws actually taught us a game recently using just a dictionary, and it was awesome. So someone picks a random word that nobody knows, they write down the real definition, other people come up with silly definitions, and then I think one person has to try to pick the real definition. And I don't know if I'm explaining it well or correctly, but we definitely laughed for hours and played it for a long time. On a larger scale, Just holistically focus on keeping your spending the same month to month and year to year. This absolutely leads to lifestyle deflation because of, you guessed it, inflation. So this is especially useful when you don't increase your annual spending, even though you earned a raise or a bonus. Start a side hustle or passive income stream, or my favorite, multiple passive income streams, because if you find a way to increase your income and again, keep your spending the same, you're effectively giving yourself and future you a raise. Plus, staying busy definitely makes it hard to spend. I recently estimated in a video that I spend something like 22 to 25 hours a week making these videos and writing books, for example. Learn more about all my side hustles, by the way, via this recent video that I made. Become a gradual minimalist. I realize that a lot of these tips actually sound like I just discovered minimalism. That's not exactly what I'm sharing here today, but I do want to make this point that financial deflation doesn't happen all at once. It's not like a diet. If it was, it wouldn't work. Instead, take the slow route to minimalism. Declutter, sell things, learn to live with less, tackle a different room or space in your house each month. Work through tips on this list in my one-sheeter. And as my final tip, I wanted to say to recognize that you have enough. You have enough cooking utensils, enough condiments in the house, which by the way, you can actually combine together and make new ones. Remind yourself often that you have enough, because you do. And if I can be so dramatic for a moment, if you were to zoom way out and look at all the people on the planet, you likely have more than 85% plus of them. We don't need more. We need to learn how to be more grateful with less things and instead create more experiences and memories and reflect with gratitude often. Call it whatever you want: lifestyle deflation, mindful spending, minimalism, frugality. These mindset shifts have the same goals in mind. It's living with less, simplifying life and decision-making, and finding more joy by appreciating what we already have. It's retraining our brains from equating consumption with happiness and instead equating experiences, time with others, and appreciation for what we have and what's around us with happiness. But it does take active practice. I would say start with maybe 5 minutes a day, really appreciating what you have and reflecting on what truly makes you happy. Reflect on what you spend money on, why you spend it, and how it makes you feel after. Reflect on how less can definitely equal more. When you relish what you have, speaking of condiments, I think you'll be surprised by how quickly and effectively you can save and invest more money than you ever have before. Getting good with money doesn't have to be complicated, because you can take good old-fashioned simple frugality to the bank. Speaking of frugality, I would say about half of these tips today were actually plucked straight from this book that I snagged from my new local library. It's called The Art of Frugal Hedonism, a guide to spending less while enjoying everything more. Definitely inspired this video because this year I am just trying to simplify and go back to basics more, appreciating what I have more often, and this book just hit the spot. And speaking of book recommendations, my newest book is still less than a month old, so of course I have to mention it. Check out my third book, Save Half, Retire Fast, if you want to go beyond simple frugality and learn how to invest effectively, create passive income streams, pay fewer taxes, and accelerate your savings rate to 50%. Because if you do, you can retire in as little as 17 years on any income, so you can earn your time and freedom back. And if you have already checked it out and are a longtime viewer of the channel, I'd be incredibly grateful if you took a few moments to leave a review over on Amazon. Anyway, what easy daily frugal tips do you recommend that I didn't cover today? What do you swear by? And what do you think of all this stuff? Did you learn anything new from this list today? Let me know in the comments. And again, download the tips if you'd like from that one sheeter. Like this video if you liked it. Subscribe if you loved it and want some more of it. My name is Frankie. This is The Money Resolution. Watch this video next for a full blueprint for how to make 2022 your best year yet. Or watch this video if you want to check out my new book trailer. Thanks.